Welcome to this week's Friday 5 in 5. This week I have 5 Photoshop tips for you. So welcome to this week's Friday 5 in 5. I hope you guys are well. I hope you've had a good week. It's snowing outside, so hopefully I'll be able to get out into that and have a bit of fun and take some photos, maybe do a vlog or two, you never know. This week I'm talking to you about some Photoshop tips that I use to lesser or greater extents. And it's quite tricky to get all of these in 5 minutes, but I'm going to give it a go. And if there's any that you're really interested in, then just let me know and I might be able to expand on them in a future vlog. Before we get to that though, I want to give you my recommendation for this week. It's an Instagram page. It's the guy's called Bob Walsh, and it's Bob Walsh Photography. He takes some absolutely fantastic images of London at night, really stunning pictures. I recommend that you go check out his page. Doesn't really need my recommendation, he's got lots and lots of followers anyway, but just for you guys, a bit of a heads up, so you can go and have a look at him. He's really very good. So yeah, Bob Walsh Photography on Instagram. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get to the 5 in 5. I'm going to put the clock down here this week for reasons that will become apparent when you see that I need to show you what's going on at the top here. And let's get started. So the first one here is from Scalibur Force, and the bit in the middle is a bit too bright for me. I've just realised this, and what I can do here is I can select the clone stamp and change it to darkening mode and just turn down the flow and the opacity a little bit. Move over to an area where there's a bit more detail and then basically just clone this in. So what this is doing is it's just basically darkening the area with some of the detail from the other area, but it's not completely overwriting it, so it doesn't look like a copy of that source area. Now bear in mind here, this is a very quick edit, and this is taking me like, I've speeded it up a little bit, but it's not taking me very much time at all. Just bump up the opacity a bit there, and I can just basically just clone that bit in and make it look a little bit better. It's still very subtle. I'll pick that bit at the bottom there and pull that up. It's still very, very subtle, but you can see the difference. So when I look at the before and now the after, you can see how that's changed. It's just a subtle change, but it's something that's very good. So in this instance, I've got this lens flare that I want to get rid of, and I'm going to clone it out. So I'm going to go to the window here and select the clone stamp properties, and select the clone stamp, and on these properties that are up here on the right, I'm going to select my source and I'm going to reverse it, so I can go over to this more intricate piece of work here and I can select it, and then it's going to clone in a mirror image of it, which is really good for photos where you've got a lot of symmetry. So as you can see, it's pulled it over, but it's put a mirrored image of it. I'm going to do a little bit here now as well for the archway. And that works really well, and then I can use a combination of mirrored and normal just to clone the rest of this out. Now obviously if it's large parts, it's going to look a little strange because the lighting is going to be reversed as well, but for something that's this small, I think you can kind of get away with it, and when you look out to the finished result, you can see that you don't really notice it. It looks quite good. So another variation on the theme here, this is a really overly processed image. I did it on purpose to show you that you get this haloing effect. So we're going to get rid of that, and it's another way of cloning. So what I'm going to do is unlock the layer here and then create a new blank layer, and then I'm going to change the mode on that to darken, and then I'll go over and select my clone stamp and select darken at the top, and maybe just drop the flow or the opacity down a little bit, and then I'm going to select the source from the original and then go onto the blank layer and just start filling in the gaps. And basically what that's doing is it's just putting a darkened layer over the halo, so it sort of makes it a little bit less obvious. And what it can do, you can see the halo's gone there to all intents, and what I can do is put in an adjustment layer on that and just paint out some of the more obvious areas so it sort of blends in a little bit better. Again, this was a very quick edit, but it's just something to show you how you can remove the halo. Back to the folly now at Rest Park, and I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking, what if I wanted that tree on the right a bit straighter? Well, what you can do is you can use something called Puppet Warp. So I'm going to duplicate the layer here, so I've got 2 layers. I'm going to work on the top layer, And I'm going to go into edit and puppet warp, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start selecting points around the tree that I want to move, and then I'm going to select some anchor points that are around the actual folly to stop that from getting moved when I do the editing, as you can see here. So I'm just pushing and pulling this about to get the tree to straighten it up. And if you look, because I've anchored it on the other side by the folly, that isn't moving. And now you can see we've straightened it up, we've done that. I'm going to put in an adjustment layer and just paint out some of the areas around, so it's only the bit where I've straightened the tree showing through. Again, very quick job, but I hope you get the point. There you go, you can just straighten it up with a bit of puppet warp, which isn't too bad actually, I don't mind that. And last but not least, we're here at the Lake District, and as you can see here, I had my camera on the tripod but not on the L bracket, and I think it shifted while I was doing a panorama. And you can see that the horizon's slightly off, it's a bit warped. So what I'm going to do in it here, I'm going to go into the Liquify tool, make it really big, and then I'm going to start just pulling that about and just straightening up the horizon a bit. It's a bit of a quick and dirty method to do it. You probably could do it with a puppet warp, but I just found this one quite useful, and it just helps you just to pull it about a little bit, and you can go in and refine it and just straighten off that horizon. I'd recommend you get it right in camera, obviously, but if you can't get it right first time in camera, if you get home and it's the only shot you've taken, it hasn't quite worked, then yeah, using the puppet warp can be quite a powerful tool, and that's straightened off that horizon there. Let's see if we can have a before and after look. So there it is before, and then here it is after with it all straightened off, as you can see. There you go. And yeah, it's done a reasonable job. As I said, it was a very quick edit. So I hope you enjoyed that little 5 in 5 there. I hope that was helpful to you. I appreciate that I didn't have that much time to get the full details in of each of the tips, but more give you a flavour of what they can do. And if you are interested in any particular one or more than one, then why not drop me a comment below, and maybe I'll do a video expanding on that a little bit to go into a little bit more detail. I'm sure most of you guys are very proficient anyway in Photoshop and post-processing, but you know, if it's helped one or two of you, then I feel like maybe I've done my job. So yeah, so like I say, I really hope you've enjoyed that. Don't forget to have a look at Bob Walsh Photography's Instagram feed. Fantastic. The shots of London are really, really cool, and it's so good actually that I'm going to go to London myself over the next few weeks or week or so and try and emulate some of those shots in a vlog. So we'll see how that goes. And while we're on the subject of vlogs, I'm heading over to Snowdonia in mid-February. Hope to get a few vlogs out from there. So if any of you guys are out and about and you fancy meeting up, then why not give me a shout and we'll see what we can do. Anyway, from a very snowy Bedfordshire, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you guys next time.